Every 40 seconds, someone suffers a stroke, and every 3.5 minutes, someone dies from one. But what if the real danger isn't just in your blood pressure or your genetics? What if it's hiding right there on your kitchen counter, in your fruit bowl? For seniors over 60, stroke risk skyrockets by more than 500%, according to the CDC. But most people don't realize that certain fruits, yes, fruits, marketed as healthy and heart-friendly, may silently be contributing to this deadly threat. They're loaded with hidden sugars, blood-thickening compounds, and chemical interactions that interfere with your medications. The worst part? Some of these fruits have been praised for decades, and you've probably eaten at least one of them this week. Let's start with dried figs. They seem natural, right? But remove the water, and what's left is a sugar bomb. Just 4 dried figs can contain more sugar than a can of soda. That sugar spike crashes your insulin levels, damages the lining of your arteries, and if you're over 60 with even mild hypertension or diabetes, the risk of stroke becomes terrifyingly real. Figs also contain oxalates, which form crystals that block blood flow and irritate vessels. Add sulfites, preservatives used in many dried fruits, and you've got the perfect storm for arterial inflammation. Now think about star fruit, often sold in health food stores and juice bars. It's pretty and exotic, but it contains a compound called caramboxin, a neurotoxin. If your kidneys are aging or compromised, even a small serving can trigger seizures, confusion, and in extreme cases, coma. Several hospitalizations and deaths have been linked to this fruit. Seniors with declining kidney function are especially vulnerable because the toxin builds up in the bloodstream and crosses the blood-brain barrier, essentially turning your neurons into overactive firecrackers, raising the risk of clots, arterial spasms, and stroke. Next on the list, bananas. Surprised? You shouldn't be. While potassium is usually helpful, bananas pack so much of it that when combined with common senior medications like ACE inhibitors or potassium-sparing diuretics, they can lead to hyperkalemia. That means dangerously high potassium levels that slow your heart, drop your blood pressure, and cut oxygen to your brain. It's called hypoperfusion stroke, and it often happens silently during sleep. And here's a fruit almost everyone thinks is healthy: cherries. Sweet, tart, and antioxidant rich, right? But cherries are filled with fructose, which the body processes through the liver, raising uric acid levels and causing cerebral small vessel disease. That's where tiny arteries in your brain start to clog, narrow, and die. The sugar in cherries spikes insulin, while their natural compounds can dangerously thin your blood if you're already taking aspirin, warfarin, or omega-3s. A bowl of cherries at night with medication could be a recipe for a hemorrhagic stroke while you sleep. And now the grapefruit, known for helping with weight loss and cholesterol, but hiding a devastating secret. Grapefruit disables a key liver enzyme that helps metabolize over 85 medications, from blood thinners to antidepressants. That means the drugs you're taking could be building up to toxic levels in your body without you knowing. For seniors taking blood pressure meds, that could mean sudden hypotension. For those on blood thinners, it could mean internal bleeding. And women over 60 are particularly at risk due to hormonal changes and slower liver metabolism. The next danger? Oranges. Yes, your innocent glass of morning orange juice. When juiced, an orange loses all its fiber and becomes a sugar bullet. 1 cup contains the sugar of 4 to 5 whole oranges, flooding your bloodstream and crashing your insulin. It inflames the lining of your blood vessels and can raise the risk of ischemic stroke by more than 30% in women over 60. Oranges also contain tyramine, a compound that interacts with antidepressants and raises blood pressure to dangerous levels, potentially triggering a hypertensive crisis and a burst blood vessel in the brain. But what about apples? They've long been seen as nature's perfect snack, but the truth is far more complicated. Apples are rich in quercetin, which in moderate doses can help, but in excess can cause blood platelets to clump together. That means thicker blood and a higher chance of clotting. And with age, your blood vessels already lose elasticity. Add in some sorbitol, an alcohol sugar found in apples that diverts blood flow to your digestive tract, and suddenly your brain is being starved of oxygen. Drink apple juice instead? That's even worse. Concentrated sugar, no fiber, and a one-way ticket to blood vessel damage. Now let's talk pineapple. Bright, tropical, and bursting with bromelain, a digestive enzyme that's also a natural blood thinner. Bromelain can dangerously amplify the effects of aspirin, Plavix, or warfarin, thinning your blood to the point that a single microbleed in the brain can spiral into a fatal hemorrhagic stroke. Pineapple is also highly acidic, which irritates the vagus nerve. That nerve controls blood pressure, and overstimulation can cause it to drop, starving your brain of oxygen. And now for the king of dangerous fruits, mangoes. Beautiful, juicy, sweet. But one large mango contains more sugar than a slice of chocolate cake. And it's not just the sugar, it's also the way mango affects your gut, your liver, and your medication. Mangoes delay digestion, which means your meds don't work when they should. They're high in tyramine, which, again, can interact with antidepressants and spike blood pressure fast. They raise insulin, trigger inflammation, and wreak havoc on endothelial function, the fragile network of arteries in your brain. In one peer-reviewed study, mango consumption was linked to a 42% rise in stroke risk markers in seniors over 60. You probably never thought fruit could do this much harm, but as we age, our bodies metabolize things differently. What once helped us, now may hurt us, especially when we're stacking medications, fighting chronic inflammation, and trying to navigate a sea of conflicting health advice. The truth is, not all fruits are created equal. For seniors, especially those over 60, the wrong fruit at the wrong time can interact with medication, spike blood sugar, increase blood thickness, and ultimately damage the delicate system of blood vessels keeping the brain alive. These risks aren't theories. They're backed by real studies, real data, and real consequences. And it's not about fear. It's about awareness. The solution isn't to avoid all fruit, but to be smart about what you choose and how it fits into your specific health profile. Talk to your doctor. Read your medication labels. Learn which fruits interact with your prescriptions. And if you've been relying on bananas, mangoes, cherries, or fruit juice as your go-to healthy snacks, it's time to rethink that. You deserve to age with clarity, dignity, and independence. And your brain depends on the choices you make today. Now here's the question we'll leave you with. Which of these fruits surprised you the most? And which one are you going to stop eating today before it's too late?